UEFA Champions League, Arsenal v Chelsea, Tuesday 7:30, live and exclusive on ITV1.
Reyes, all major doubts, all play. Just the one change from the first leg, with Jose Reyes taking over from Dennis Bergkamp. Chelsea are unchanged, I repeat, unchanged. Only the second time Claudio Ranieri has named the same lineup for successive games, but Mario Melchiot was only a substitute in the first leg, and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank starts a European game.
All about. Arsenal were gunning for trophies on three fronts. Starting on Saturday, it's all changed. At Villa Park, Manchester United arrived with a game plan. 90 minutes later, all the treble talk surrounding Arsenal was over.
I think we were desperate to hang on to it. You know, it was a great record. However, you know, what, 4 years since we'd been beaten by Liverpool in the final. That was the last time we'd lost an FA Cup tie. So, you know, to say Arsenal and Arsenal supporters weren't up for the FA Cup is plainly rubbish. But that hurt. But it hurt for me. It hurt because we'd gone out of a competition I think still the best knockout tournament in the world, not because it was part of some treble. It was just strange to watch United battling against the odds in a situation like that after the way they've dominated the English game over the last 10 years or so. But I just think you have to say fair play to them. They had a plan, and the plan worked a treat.
At Monday's press conference, the manager remained positive about his team's chances for their Champions League clash with Chelsea, dismissing comments made by Sir Alex Ferguson that he would not bet on Arsenal to progress on Tuesday night.
We do not listen to any opinion coming from outside our team and our club. We respect every opinion, but we have as well a strong belief inside that we are strong, and that's what we want to do. That will help us. The comments made from outside by people who are well-intentioned or not well-intentioned don't matter. What is important is how much we want it, and how much togetherness we show in the big games. There's only one way to respond, is tomorrow night, and I believe that the overall belief in the team and the spirit is very, very, very strong.
I'm sure he was, you know, he was down after the semi-final, but I mean, I spoke to one or two of the players on the Sunday and the Monday, and it seemed to me there was a real determination to kind of make a positive reaction, you know, to turn that disappointment into something positive by the time they came out to face Chelsea. So I think obviously there was disappointment, and whether doubt had started to creep in, you know, Arsenal just had been looking unbeatable for so long, whether that really was a kind of knock psychologically. You'd have to ask the players themselves. I don't think it would have been, you know, there would have been the disappointment of losing a football match, but I'm not sure that it would have gone much further than that. And I think, you know, the way they approached the game on Tuesday night against Chelsea, you saw that psychologically they were right. First half, they were absolutely sensational and, you know, could have had the game won by half-time.
But Arsenal's one-goal lead at half-time wasn't enough. A superb second-half performance from Chelsea saw the Blues score twice, and in the space of just 4 days, Arsenal had been put out of 2 competitions.
It's just one of those strange moments that, you know, a goal scored and there's this kind of silence around most of the ground, the absolute just sort of disappointment and a disbelief, really, even though it had been coming for 5 or 10 minutes, that goal. And, you know, then there's this little mob in the corner of the clock going absolutely mental, and it sounds like, you know, the noise is coming from a different game. It was, I mean, it was devastating. It was a devastating moment. But maybe the games just started to catch up with Arsenal last night and against Chelsea, and perhaps Ranieri's rotation policy paid off, because I just thought you looked at that winning goal, and it was all about players still having legs 3 minutes from a game that had been played at this incredible pace. I mean, fantastic pace and athleticism all night from both teams. And you just think, well, Bridge was fresh, and he was fresh when it mattered.
Earlier today, the post-mortem continued.
I feel that the fact that we had very difficult fixtures, and that we paid a little bit for it, and we have twice Chelsea, twice Man United, and it was difficult, because when you have one disappointment, the next one, you have no time to recover, nor mentally nor physically. At the end of the day, we lost against the second and the third in the league in big competitions, and it can happen. Every defeat in my career still hurts today, so I cannot say if defeat doesn't hurt, you won't survive in this job. So you want to win, and when you lose, you're not happy, and it hurts, because if it wouldn't hurt, you have nothing to do in this job.
He will have been absolutely convinced that his team were good enough to beat Chelsea and go through to the semi-finals, and then who knows this season. I think he'd be bitterly disappointed. He's a European, you know, and I think therefore the Champions League is almost by definition is a huge competition for him.
The Gunners have not won in their last 4 matches, so they're hoping tomorrow's lunchtime kick-off in the Premiership against Liverpool will prove to be a good Friday.
This weekend is big. Liverpool at home, Newcastle away. Those are two big games anyway in a season. Given what's happened during the course of this week, then yes, if anything, they're even bigger. And particularly the home game against Liverpool, I think Friday lunchtime will be. There'll probably be pressure on the players, more pressure on the players than there was before either the semi-final of the FA Cup or the quarter-final of the Champions League, funny enough. And it's how they respond to that pressure.
It would be stupid to spoil one competition because you have a disappointment in the other one. And that's why we have fought for 8-9 months to be where we are in the Championship. It's not one disappointment will make us throw away what we have accumulated. And over all the 8 or 9 months, we have a record was going on, 30 games. You know what that means for a team in the modern game. You think we tomorrow will not be there just because we are disappointed. The special message for me is just to remind them that we are a team, we are together, and as well that we are strong, and not to forget how strong they are.
Steely countenance there from Mr. Wenger. And John, I'm just interested, before we kind of get stuck into the meat and potatoes of what's happened in the last few days, Arsenal man, Chelsea man, was there any split loyalties during the course of that game?
There's always split loyalties, but I did think on the day just that Arsenal would win.
Yeah.
Because of the way they've worked and the goal that they'd got at Chelsea. But you have to give it to Chelsea. They came out second half and dominated it for those 45 minutes and went on to win the game. And there were a lot of flaws in the Arsenal setup, possibly tiredness, possibly other things, but it just shows you they can be beaten. Did
you get a sense as well, I think I did, is that the last half hour of the first leg as well contributed quite heavily to this second leg, because they did seem to kind of sit back and let Chelsea have a good look at them?
Yes, I think that they have that inclination to do that in quite a lot of the games, right. Arsenal, where they've actually done their best part and got the goals and got the thing, but they're always inclined to let a goal in, and it's not arrogance. I don't think it's arrogance. I just think they just slip up now and again and think, oh, crumbs, we better go out and get another one, which they do.
Generally do. Absolutely
generally
right.
do.
Right, now, as testimony here in tomorrow's Sun, you'll be reading this, one Sean Custis reports, there we go, inside there, we are number one. Winning the Champions League doesn't mean you're the best in Europe, but landing the title shows you're tops. Nice bit of spin there from the manager, and backed up with this exclusive from Sean, which is Anthony Amy is the £5 million target for Arsenal to come in where Mr. Fumbling Layman kind of let the side down. So you've been around this for the last few days then, Sean. Have we watched the decline and fall of the once great in just a few days?
No, I don't think so. I think Wenger made the point, that they have to win the Premiership, but if they win the Premiership, they're still the top boys. He says Europe is just a cup. Which is a funny thing to say now.
Do you really believe that?
He says it's just a cup, it's a knockout competition, the true test of consistency and win the Premiership. And he says if they win the Premiership, they're the best team in England, no argument. But he does need a goalkeeper if they're going to go on next season. He feels that's the last piece in the jigsaw. Niemi is the bloke he wants. Whether they'll come up with £5 million to get him is the big question, because they thought they'd blown all their money on Reyes. He said that's the transfer fund gone. It's finished now. But he needs money for a keeper, and he thinks the jigsaw's complete.
Well, we've heard him that, he's come back strong, from which has clearly been an ugly week for them. But prior to this, was there any sense that he thought that perhaps there may be a crack in the dam in terms of the way Arsenal were performing?
I don't think he did, no. I think he thought he'd get through the Man United game, which was one of the reasons he left Henry on the bench. I think he thought he could do it. I think he thought they were strong enough and that they'd done well enough in the first leg against Chelsea to get through. He was genuinely surprised, I think, that they went out of both competitions. He believed they could do it.
And he did say, you know, we lost to second and third in the league. You know, I mean, you know, there's no disgrace in that. Yet we've been expecting a lot more of Arsenal this season because they've set themselves such high standards.
Yeah, and they've also, I think the shock of it really was, let's just say Man United were fighting. They were fighting full-blooded, shall we say, tackling, got around them, didn't like it, and the game was changed by the goal, Scholes' goal, and all of a sudden now Arsenal are chasing the game. They had chances, but didn't put them away. And I think Chelsea got a lot of sort of encouragement from that game and thought, well, if we can get about them and do this. But I just feel at the moment that Arsenal, this is the severe test. Yeah, you can talk about tiredness. If they'd have won those two, they wouldn't have been tired.
No, no, no.
You know,
It's the
second win.
Wenger introducced the tiredness element, actually, which was a bit of a surprise. He allowed that to be brought into it. Yes, Henry had come back tired after the international and stuff like that. Vieira actually tried to get away from that and said, no, it's exciting. 4 games in 9 games, 9 days is great. But Wenger had brought that in, and suddenly it had got into the psyche a little bit, which is a bit of a surprise. And
actually, Tom Watt mentioned it as well. Games catching up, and although in saying this, you know, Arsenal, as we can see from these results, and I'm sure that you're all aware of these because it was fairy tale night of football for you. All the top of the league teams managed to blow it. Only Porto, who of course saw United off, are the ones that managed to get through. Unbelievable. It was a crazy night of football, has to be said. Which is why we now sit there with Chelsea at 6-4. Deportivo, Monaco 5-1, as you can see that, though that's probably why Chelsea are looking favourites at the moment. But could you not fancy Porto the way that they've been going as well? Good run from them, so that's the odds. Now, Arsenal though have found trouble with the Champions League clearly over the years, and there it is. It's broken down for you graphically. Is it anything to do with the fact that it's at this time of the season that it arrives? Are we back to the legs starting to get a bit heavy and they just haven't got the strength in depth there, perhaps, John?
I don't know about strength in depth. I think they've gone through a lot younger players. There's quite a cliche, Aladier, Bentley, players like that are coming through. Perhaps goalkeepers coming through that are young as well, that are not just hitting the right note and having to, I think it's really the forward line really that they have to rely on so much,
right? And
they put so much emphasis on. I think defensively, if you think of all the suspensions they had, you know, with the Man United incident, they've overcome that quite a lot. Lauren was out, Campbell was out, lots of other players were out, but they've overcome that. But it's the forwards that I think that they rely on so much. I thought Reyes, bringing him in was a major coup.
Wenger says he needs another year for the ones developing to really hit it. I think Reyes has improved with each game. I do believe he'll be a big threat next season. He's clearly going to be the starting player next time.
And I must say, taking a step aside as well, Campbell and Terry, could you be more delighted with 2 centre-halves to come in for England there? They look phenomenal. Now, this is the point that you were making here, Sean, in terms of what Mr. Wenger has been saying, is that this is the one that matters. But it's not as easy as it even looked, say, a fortnight ago, is it? Because Arsenal are that close. And then if we start looking at the fixtures, the way the fixtures actually break down, Liverpool tomorrow, then Newcastle just a couple of days afterwards, 2 form teams that suddenly have Arsenal got in front of them, just when they don't want them, John?
Just when they don't want them. But you can't get any bigger than that. I mean, Man United, they've dealt with them. I think Chelsea have got Man United at one stage. But Arsenal have dealt with all the big ones, shall we say, but this is major. I think Liverpool have just hit a vein of form now. Newcastle have hit a vein of form. And I just think Arsenal, this will show their true strength and their depth of the players they've got.
And I'm just liking those last games of the season there. Leicester and Leeds, perhaps fighting for their Premiership lives against Arsenal and Chelsea, perhaps fighting for the title. Do you stick a pin in any of these teams then, Sean?
No, I still believe Arsenal will have it wrapped up by the time they get to there.
Really?
If they get over the hump of Liverpool and Newcastle, they're home free. I think maybe even just take 2 points from those 2 games. I think that should be enough for them.
Could do it. Okay.